Hello, welcome to today's show. I'm joined by wonderful Albert, the amazing Paul, what word should we use for you, Nicole?
I don't know.
Awesome.
What is
Awesome.
this rated?
The braided hair,
There you go,
Nicole. Yeah?
There you go.
We are waiting for George, who's right round the other side of the world, probably still asleep, and I might have to call him up live on air. So, fingers crossed, it'll be on before the intro finishes. If not, we'll phone him. Right, see you in just over a minute.
Welcome. Where the paranormal becomes normal. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole. And into the unknown.
Well, he's not made an appearance. I've spammed him loads on Messenger. Nothing. So we'll crack on without him and see if he makes an appearance. I've probably got the time wrong, haven't we, Paul?
Yes, that would
What
never
time zone
happen.
is he?
No. Why would I want to know the different time zones around the world?
What time zone is he in?
Sorry?
What time zone is he in?
Australia, New South Wales. I think he's 19 hours. Now, I did tell him
5:30 a.m. in Australia.
5:30.
A.m.
I told him 6:30 a.m. It's Saturday there now.
Well, you know what? I try to go in at 3 o'clock, and I go, wait a minute, it's 3:30. I went in, and there's nobody there. I go, what happened? I go,
Oh, wouldn't let you in?
no, but I didn't go in. It was just
Okay.
And it wasn't anything. It was just blank everything. So
I actually expected to come in and George would be sat there waiting because that's what he usually does. So
Albert, it looks like you have a ghost going on over here.
oh, I'm doing some incense. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All I see is like a wisp of smoke going.
Yeah,
I thought he was vaping.
Wow, I didn't know what's so damn. What's wrong with me? I haven't even had a drink. What's going on?
So, do we have any topics that we'd like to cover? Because it's pretty much an open book tonight.
Albert, I love your name tag. Have you ever attempted to use that to get into Area 51 or S4 facility?
I haven't tried yet, but I was there last year, and right by the gate. I was there. Yeah, I took a tour to the Area 51 site, and it was only me and my sister, so we were there, and we went to the back gate. Nobody around. And I looked up, and there was a white SUV in one of the hills looking down.
Yeah.
Instead of no black SUV, it's a white SUV. And then there was can't get near the fence because if you touch the fence, the guy told me if you touch it, you can go to jail. You can't. So we went to the main entrance. Nobody around. It was a little guard shack there, but you couldn't see anything. So my sister walked up she didn't touch it, but she walked up. All of a sudden, we hear this. It's like a foghorn, really loud. I mean, it scared the out of me. And the guy, the tour guy said that sometimes they use that just to mess with people when they got up to the gate. Really loud. I saw they have like a horn, and then they freaking somebody must have pressed a button and got a kick out of it. That's for sure.
Well, Area 51 is a classic example of our government lying to us in America. They denied it for decades, said the place doesn't exist. It's not real. Don't believe these rumors. And then about 10, 12 years ago, they came forward and said, oh, by the way, we've been lying. It really is real. And they were forced to admit this in court. So if they lie about something as, well, semi-important as that, what else are they lying about? Plenty.
Everything.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah. So why does anyone know? It's probably self-explanatory. Why they changed the perimeter from 10 mile to 15 mile?
I don't know. Maybe just to keep people further out.
Yeah, because you used to be able to go up and climb a hill and look down.
So that was outside the perimeter. So now they've put that inside to stop you going up.
Now the hills are beyond the gate.
Right back.
Right, got you.
I remember back in like the late 80s or early 90s, Inside Edition, a TV show in America or a current affair, took their cameras out to that hillside and they showed some lights in the sky and other people's home videos. And you could hear it like a crowd camped out there. It was like bus tours out there for the longest time. And then the government got a hold of that and no more of that.
No, all you can do now is go outside and take pictures, go to the Alien Inn, the Ale Inn.
Yeah.
And the extraterrestrial highway, there's a sign there and all that.
How long would a drone last in the sky? You send it up from outside and
look, and by the main gate, there's an antenna array right on the right-hand side behind the gate, and that thing is one of those like round dish thing, couple of them, and they're always moving. They're like, they're monitoring the airway all the time there, everything.
Yeah.
And that thing was moving around like crazy. And we were just standing there looking at it.
So how many times have you been there, Albert?
Once. I went to Las Vegas, and I took a tour over there.
Have you been, Paul? Are you planning on making any trips out there?
No. Not me. I would like to stay out of prison. But it was interesting that a few years ago, that we were going to get this massive, like 1 million people. They can't stop us.
Yeah.
And then everyone chickened out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful landscape. The whole area is beautiful. I tell you, hills, and they even have a lot of wildlife around there. They have like these. They look like deer, but they're not. They're not exactly deer. They're like mountain goats or something. They're running around and stuff.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nicole, are you planning on going?
Nope, probably not. I mean, I would if I got the opportunity and if I was close by, but I wouldn't make it just to look.
You remember when Larry King, the broadcaster, did a whole show live? Yeah. He set up a desk out in the desert and the sun would set and the moon came up and they talked to some guests out there. But I bet even that area you can't go to anymore. That was like, 20 years ago?
Probably not anymore, no. Yeah.
So speaking of Area 51, are there any other not that well-known areas similar to that in the US that any of you know about?
Area 51 is like the old secret.
Yeah.
About that, then they've moved everything to their other bases.
They got other bases that are probably more important than Area 51. They have the.
So do you think
Colorado Springs, and they have the.
Do you think Area 51 is then? It's like a decoy for everything else that's going on.
I wouldn't doubt it. Probably attract everybody there and focus there, and then God knows what's happening in other places.
Yeah. The American government's bought up huge swaths of land in Nevada, Wyoming, Utah. It's like barbed wire fence and high tech, and it's like, is this our country, or is this our representative government in process here, or you're going to fry the minute you step foot on that land, one way or another.
Yeah. I think there was stuff in Area 51, but once people started to get wind of it, they moved it all and left Area 51 just to be, mysterious and have people looking over here while they're doing stuff over here.
Yeah, but they do have people stationed there, because I remember on the way there, the little tour, me, my sister, and this guy, we stopped at a gas station for some water and stuff, and there was 3 or 4 military looking guys there, and they were like, I mean, you could tell they were not normal military guys. They were like more like, and I yelled out to my tour guide, I forgot his name, and one of the guys just looked at me like startled. He must have been his name also. That's what I think when I yell out this guy's name.
Your name tag has the name of the place where I would most want to go, S4, which is not Area 51. It's like, what, 30 miles out in the desert? Yeah, there you go. Where Bob Lazar claimed embedded on the side of a mountain is where they're keeping their depository, if you want to call it that, of crashed disc and undamaged discs. And it's camouflaged to look like a natural part of the terra firma. So that's the real story there. And who knows if they're even using that, because Lazar's story has gone so mainstream. And
well, there's a lot of stories about underground facilities, that all in the West, in that area there. I had I don't know if you know, but I do collect information on humanoid encounters and entity encounters and stuff like that. And one person emailed me one time an encounter that he had. I think it was I don't have it in front of me, but it was in the desert, either Arizona or New Mexico, one of them places. He stopped at a gas station, I think, and there's a whole line of like military personnel showed up, and according to him, these guys all look the same, like twins, and they were all like very quiet. They wouldn't talk to anybody, and then they just stood there in line for something. I don't know what. Then he said he followed them. There were several trucks of them, and he saw them disappearing, what he thinks, into a mountain. Who knows? Maybe they drove into some kind of underground facility.
One of those Star Wars movies had like clone soldiers, and they all look alike, and they're being raised as an army. That sounds like your friend's story there.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what the heck that light is, because there's nothing over there that lights up.
A light where?
That's where I went. I don't know what is lighting up over there.
In your room?
Yeah.
Oh.
That light right on the edge.
Yeah.
Like
how would we go? We're not in your house.
We're not there.
I know, but there's nothing.
She's been drinking.
I'm not, actually.
Just like John Candy.
This is not on.
Oh, and that was lighting up. Is that for when you're stuck in traffic?
I have no idea what it is or how it ended up there.
Kmart blue light special.
Yeah.
But that was weird.
Came off a cop car.
No, because it's still lighting up over there. I'm very confused.
No.
And it just suddenly lit up by itself?
There is nothing lighting up. I'm looking here, and there is nothing lighting up.
Maybe George trying to contact us.
He is.
From Australia.
in his sleep.
In his dream.
Yeah. Well, with you talking about Area 51, I have a guest coming on in a couple of weeks who, I'm not going to say the name just in case you don't want to talk about it, but they got arrested at Area 51.
Yeah. A lot of people do get arrested.
Yeah. So I don't know what that person was doing. Hopefully they'll talk about it, but
like you said, they say if you touch the gate, that's grounds for you to get arrested just for touching the thing.
Oh, didn't it say they can use deadly force in that part of their like warning?
It says that too.
Okay. This is what's going on my nightstand. Ignore that it has a bunch of crap on it. But there is nothing over there that's lighting up.
And something's lit up. There you go.
Oh, maybe it might be the background that was like coming through, like glitching through.
Well, now you are the host of a paranormal show, don't you?
No, I think it's the background
something?
that's glitching through the. Debunked.
Okay. One down. Million to go.
So my doll moved.
Oh.
So I have this doll here, and she's sitting over here on the side.
Awful.
And then she was facing out the window this morning.
Got a pet?
Yeah, but he
Haunt-
was it's crazy.
Pet haunted doll.
It's weird. So I have to grill everybody. I'm like, is somebody touching my doll? Because they don't like her.
Hey Andy, I
No.
sent you the summary of the case that the guy reported to me. It occurred in
Yeah, it's just come through now.
2001. Yeah, and that it was near Tucson, Arizona, back in 2001, the summer, right before September 11th.
It is. It's like Paul said, Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. AI gone stupid.
I've been researching Ronald Reagan and his UFO stuff for the past year or so, possibly make a book out of that. And they talk about Wackenhut was the name of a lot of Reagan security personnel. And I remember that name because it's unusual. And Bob Lazar said he worked at Area 51 and Wackenhut was in charge of security, these white trucks that would come down and rough you up if you even breathed on them or something like that. And I just wondered if anyone had any particular Ronald Reagan stories that I haven't heard yet that I could dig into.
The only one I know is from Timothy Good's book, Above Top Secret. So Steven Spielberg, they're in the White House and they're watching the premiere for E.T. Apparently Spielberg turns around to Reagan because they were sat quite close, and he turns around to him and says, "There's only me, you, and a handful of people in this room that know the truth about this movie." Even now I get goosebumps from that.
You don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
He told Spielberg. Spielberg refused comment on that rumor for years and years, like decades. And about 2 years ago, he came forward and said, "You know that story? It's absolutely true." And that Reagan was not joking or laughing when he said it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and the other one was between him and Gorbachev when it was the USSR.
Yeah.
That they signed a treaty of if that there was always going to be against each other in a war on Earth, but if Earth ever came under attack from outside forces, they would join up to defend Earth. And that's a treaty between America and Russia. And that was signed, I think it was 1984, 84, 85.
Yeah, he started bringing this up in speech after speech after he got safely reelected in 84. So that, if they started to think, well, he's an old man and he's losing it, what are you going to do? He's not up for a reelection and he's in power for 4 years. But it was very unusual. No other presidents really mentioned aliens and an alien threat from above and making that part of negotiations with a superpower. So something was up there.
Yeah. But I also heard, it's not paranormal, but the reason that Reagan got elected, because they wanted to elect an actor, because for those who don't know, he was an actor before he was a president. Was it Bedtime for Bonzo or something when he did that black and white movie with a chimp?
His movie
that's the only one that I know of.
Yeah, his movie career went right downhill after that one.
And then they did it to prove that anyone is capable of becoming the president of the US.
Anyone, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been going.
And then the rest is history.
The Wackenhut guy, he lived here in South Florida. He had his headquarters here in South Florida.
Oh, is that right? Huh.
And I think he was very close to Richard Nixon, because Richard Nixon had a house here in Key Biscayne in South Florida. And they would get together and play golf, and Jackie Gleason will join up with them, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Ah.
Okay, now I remember him. You remember Mr. Blake? Yeah, the book that he wrote. Okay. I know he was an author, but I just looked him up here, and I'm looking at the books that he wrote. Yeah.
There's a guy who's into like psychic visions or something and remote viewing, and his name is Paul Smith. And sometimes I get confused. No, I don't have any remote viewing abilities. That's why I threw my middle name in there. Make sure we don't get confused. I'm confused enough already. But that's very interesting. I wish I had heard that, Albert, before I wrote this book, that Nixon had a lot of CIA ties and that he was the king of the hill Everyone who was in power before him had died by the time February of 73 came about, and he did this, taking Jackie Gleason to Homestead Air Force Base to see something out of this world. And I just read of a new one today. I wish I had it in my book, that George H.W. Bush's father, Senator Prescott Bush, died in December of 72. And he was a very powerful influence on Nixon, a mentor. And even he had passed away, along with J. Edgar Hoover, Allen Dulles, LBJ, Truman. They all died in a short span, leaving Nixon king of the mountain. So he could just do anything he wanted, and he did.
Homestead Air Force Base still here, still thriving there.
Yeah,
more like lesser, but they have a lot of stuff there.
He got zapped by a terrible hurricane, I think, in the
early 92. Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah, and they rebuilt it, and it's kind of a different base from Nixon's day, but it's still a thriving, important center there.
Yeah, I was here during that hurricane, and it wiped up. I mean, it destroyed. They had an airplane in one of the concrete bunkers, and it took that out, the airplane.
Wow, you were there during it?
I was here in Miami during the hurricane.
Wow, that was like Hurricane Andrew or something like that.
Yeah, Andrew.
Super scary. Just wiped out Homestead. I mean, not just the base, but like every house, and it's just scary.
There was an area south day that it supposedly went in right by Turkey Point, and Turkey Point is the nuclear plant there. And it cracked one of the towers in half of the nuclear plant.
Huh.
Oh,
It was scary there for a second.
And that's thick concrete, like reinforced and everything, and it still couldn't withstand. I'll be done.
They had whatever was left of the tower, they had to blow it up after that.
Nature is a powerful force.
Yeah. I'm glad I live on an island.
I don't believe in curses, but since Nixon took Gleason there, Nixon resigned from power in disgrace, sold his house, and it was bulldozed. Jackie Gleason's house in South Florida caught fire. And Jackie went through all kinds of health problems, and he passed away in 87 without comment. That they would ask him every now and then, "What about this story your wife is telling that you said you went to Homestead Air Force Base and Nixon showed you the truth? And there were bodies." And he said, "I don't want to talk about it." He didn't say, "That's a lot of nonsense, get out of here." He just said, "No comment." And apparently there was no deathbed confession. But there was a lot of people involved in that whole scene back in the 70s, and they all ran into really bad luck.
Just like all the witnesses from JFK.
Yeah, bad luck. They accidentally just happened to perish with all that information they had.
And
seems to be a bit of a pattern going on.
They died. It was just crazy.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't want to.
Nikola Tesla. The way
Nikola Tesla,
because he wasn't in the New York hotel. He was staying there, and he had all this stuff in chests and trunks and all that.
And he wanted to give free
energy and free Wi-Fi and everything. And then all of a sudden, does he get taken into hospital and then never returns? And then his paperwork.
The government came in and took every bit of his files, stole off with it. Whether a friend or a relative should have legal access, they took everything.
There was nothing left. I think they left a couple of the chests, but there was nothing in them. They took his clothes. They took absolutely everything.
Oddly enough, Jackie Gleason lived not that far away back in the 40s when Tesla was an old man. I don't think Jackie had the obsession with UFOs back then, but Jackie built his UFO house outside New York City on the side of a bluff, and he put in a Tesla coil and a Tesla telescope. So he knew a great deal about Tesla.
It's very interesting.
Do you think that we have the ability to give everybody free renewable energy at this point, and we're just not?
Yeah,
I think so. I think we're I mean, there's been a lot of inventions that have been like some of these inventions have to do with running engines without gas, without petrol, using alternative type of energies, and those have been squashed. I mean, you don't hear about them anymore.
Oh yeah, it's
and what
like
a coincidence that the oil and gas companies are now more mega powerful and wealthy than ever. Just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's like all these people that obviously when you invent something, you put a patent to it. So they apply for this patent. A lot of it gets declined, and then obviously they have the paperwork of the workings on how to invent this thing. It then gets invented by different people, and then they patent it. And because they are running the same bubble, they get the patent, and that person can't do anything about it. Just saying. But
Yeah, and the original person can't produce it,
can't
can't
do
share it because
anything.
they're going to get sued.
Yep. So
Or
then a lot of it gets taken and put. Apparently, it gets put in a vault and lock and key, and never to see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Or solar power. It took a long time. We're still trying to navigate our way through solar power, which again threatens the electrical process or the oil and gas industry and everything like that. And wind power. Let nature develop our power sources. Tesla went to Niagara Falls and tried to harness that. And I was there, and that center is still there, and there's still a nice statue of Tesla out in front of like the visitor center there.
I didn't know that.
It's the same thing with alternative medicine. Instead of going the normal route with the doctors and the pills, and they're also rich companies because they run all the medications in the world. I mean, if you tried going to the alternative medication, there's a lot of those people that have been, for some reason, have been found dead or died under suspicious circumstances.
Yeah, don't tell Nicole. She works in pharmacy.
Oh,
so do I, but
that's it. We're done.
Game over.
Oh, you too? Okay, game over.
Yeah. So
I was only joking, guys.
No, I know, but you know what?
Medicine. I love medicine.
Actually,
Pharma is
different. It's a different game, isn't it?
They're incentivizing healthcare. They're just churning things out for more money, and it's kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think their goal is to cure anybody. I think their goal is just to make more money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my other half does what Nicole does. Same or similar job. I don't know if it's exactly the same in the US to the UK, but she does the checking and dispensing and all that. And I don't want to say too much, but when certain medication comes in, it's like, well, can you get it? And it's like, depends on how much it costs. And yeah, it's all to do with money. Yeah. And I'm going to shut up because I might have a job on Monday if I carry on.
I probably won't either. But I think the craziest thing is how they keep coming out with more COVID vaccines. But now, just treat it like the flu, and everybody keeps getting it. But then they want them to get that new vaccines every 4 months.
Oh.
Why are you getting it if it's not working?
Well,
I don't know.
I had the first.
I get a booster shot though. Every time it's free, so you're not making money unless the government's paying them to produce it and distribute it. I'm not an expert in these things, but you would think if profits were their only goal, that they would start charging you for these things.
Yeah.
Well, it's no charge to you, but somebody's paying.
Yeah, somebody somewhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies didn't make it up for the goodness of their heart, spread it around at their own expense. Somebody's paying.
Well, over here, if you was giving the vaccination, you was on ridiculous money. It's like 4 or 5 times minimum wage. I was like, shall I go for it or what? It's like anyone was going for it.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of glad I didn't. Like morals and all that, but
you know what? And they send me a stack of COVID testing kits. I have 30 of those.
Yeah,
my house. They're here.
Yeah.
Take them.
We can get them. You have You have to buy them unless you are frontline NHS workers or you're going in for an operation. There's certain criteria you can get them. You get them for free. And you do it on the government website. So we've got a couple, but it's a bad code. That's it. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
not
Just 1 second.
going to get into too deep into COVID reels, COVID whatever, but I just think the shots, pushing them every like 4 months is. What other vaccine do you get that often?
Yeah, it does seem strange. Is the COVID virus mutating and changing, so we have to have a slightly different booster or something?
They're not different though. They're the same thing.
I have 3 already. I haven't had more than 3. Maybe I should add another one because I got sick again this last January. So I don't know.
They changed it. I think they changed it once, but other than that, when you're getting boosted, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't add the first one, then the second 2 because of the job that I do. I was going in and out of hospitals, and I didn't want to be labelled because people be have you had your vaccination? Have you had your booster? I thought, I'm just going to get it, and then that's it. It's done. First one, oh my god! I had to pull up one day. I thought I was dying of heart attack. I was got heart palpitations, everything. I'm like, please don't let this be the way I go. Parked up in middle of a place called Cambridge. It's all fields and what have you. Once you're out the city centre, and it's just like a little labour, and I'm like, I don't really want to die here. And then after that, it's like I'm not having any more, and I've not. And I felt not ill, but didn't feel right for quite a few months, and just refused to have it. Now I have my flu jab. I have that once a year, but that's it.
I never got any reactions to the shots. Everybody else did.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah,
I
got achy arm and felt like I was dying. Other than that, I was all right.
That's nothing.
I once went in for a flu shot, and I said to the nurse who's giving them, I understand there's like 200 strains of the flu. How many will this cover? Oh, like 4 or 5.
4.
Yep. Well, what? You just got to get a flu shot. Your odds are still pretty bad against it. You're going to probably get it anyway.
Did you ever get the question? The first time I had the flu shot was, are you allergic to egg?
Mm-hmm. There's egg.
They put egg white in it as part of the mix.
There's like a special flu shot that you have to get if you're allergic to eggs.
Wow.
I
didn't get told that. Yeah, so anyway, moving on before we do get shut down.
Right. Oh, can I show you? So I worked at the book fair at my kid's school yesterday, and I had to buy this book, Legendary Creatures.
Oh, look at that.
Unleash the Beast, and it's all about cryptids. All different cryptids. Like, they have this at the book fair.
For kids?
Oh, look at kids.
Nice. When I was a kid.
That'll keep your kid awake at night, frightened of the monsters.
No, they have like the bunyips, the Loch Ness monsters, the krakens. They have all kinds of things in here.
Chupacabra? No.
Oh, do they have chupacabra? Let's
see. Yeti? Bigfoot?
Yeti, Bigfoot.
TV down, please.
Speaking of Bigfoot,
hi.
There's Georgie boy. Speaking
of Yahweh,
we stuff up our times again, did we?
Oh, I'm blaming Paul.
There's a section Spirits and Demons.
Sorry, Paul.
Spirits and Demons.
Cool.
I'm going to teach my kid about banshees and wendigos.
Well, speaking of books, I got this one a few years ago. I don't even know where I bought it from. It's by Brian Froud and Terry Jones. So they're the guys that used to do did Monty Python.
Oh yeah. Terry Jones has passed away, hasn't he?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't watch the news, to be honest with you.
You're British, and you don't know who's still with Monty Python or not.
I just Google it if I get curious. A Field Guide to the Goblins, the Goblin Companion, and it's just loads of drawings and stuff about each one.
You seen this book?
I've got a few books behind me.
Just a couple, George. Alien. Oh,
Alien
ah.
By Colin, Janet and Colin Board. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
Janet and Colin.
And Colin. Yeah. So George, how you been down there? You got all of them? I got a lot of them. I don't know if I do have all of them. I have so much.
Who's the mystery voice?
Albert. Can you not see him?
No.
You see me? No.
Oh, Albert.
No.
Hello, Albert.
Yes.
Hola,
Right
amigo.
here.
¿Cómo estás?
Right. I'll introduce Albert, George. You know each other. Paul, George, Paul. George, Nicole, George. I don't know if you've met. I can't remember who's met who, so we'll just introduce everyone to everyone.
But I haven't met Nicole and I haven't met Paul, as far as I know.
I see George's name on my Facebook and social media postings once in a while. I recognize
we must be friends then. I'm friends with so many people.
Yeah, friends of friends.
They obviously don't know me. Yes. But my books are all around me.
The books that surround you.
I love them, but at least I've read them all. Oh, apart from the free shelves in the middle, they're the free books they're some of the books I've published.
So them red ones, are they your latest? Your latest
encyclopedia? That was a couple of books ago. That's the Encyclopedia of Strange Phenomena. 7,000 pages, 22 volumes, 1600, 1999. I did that last year.
Huh.
With
That's
a few
not
others.
Impressive at all.
I've got 128. Nicole, I've got 128 books on Amazon.
That's a lot of books.
Average size 300 to 400 pages, some up to 1,700 pages.
Wow.
Yeah. Just quickly, Terry Jones did die. 77. He died 4 years ago.
Funny man.
2020. Yeah. It was cold.
I hope George does not have an earthquake or a hurricane. That's going to be one heck of a mess to clean up.
We don't have earthquakes this part of Sydney.
Oh.
We don't have that many hurricanes. At the moment, it just pisses down rain all day and night.
Welcome to the UK.
Several years ago, a government specialist called Tim Flannery said, "It's never going to rain again. There's no rain. The dams will dry. The ocean will dry up. We're doomed." That's shortly before he bought a house on the harbour. Yeah, funny though, right at sea level. And since then, we've been calling rainstorms Flannery's, because that's his surname. Because it's been pissing down rain since. Oddly enough, he wasn't even a meteorologist. But employed by the government as a meteorologist, so figure that one out.
Well, down here, when it says it's going to rain, it doesn't rain. We say, oh, it's going to be beautiful. That's when it rains.
You're not in your cupboard, Albert.
Huh?
You're not in your cupboard. Well, you've put a painting behind it.
Yeah. I'm here in my little hole here in the wall. Actually, I got plenty of space for my books, but yeah, it's like a hole in the wall.
Yeah. I thought Earl was coming today.
Who? Earl. Earl has got laryngitis, so he's had to cancel the podcast. So
he can mime.
Yeah, he can just say yes or no, and not say anything.
You're stupid.
He has said
gestures. Yeah,
we won't do that one, Nicole.
I saw a thing that is a bad gesture in the UK.
What's that?
So if you're counting, you're like 1, 2, 3.
Flicking the V's. Yeah.
Nicole didn't know. Peace sign when Churchill used to do it.
Yeah, right? That's flipping people off in the UK.
No, I thought the peace sign was that one.
Yeah, that's a
This
peace.
way.
Yeah.
That's
That
the no
means-
peace sign. Yeah.
That means get
This
lost.
means
Oh,
Yeah.
It's representative of. I've read that this is actually the symbol of the English archers from the medieval period up until the 15th century. What the French did with them, the English would go like that to the French, the archers, of course, and if the French caught them, they used to cut off their 2 archery fingers, which were those 2. So as an
Ah.
English act of defiance when they were conquering France several times, funny that, they used to
So-
do that.
More to the French then than the English, but anyway,
I have no idea why we use the middle finger.
just
It's more symbolic and phallic.
yeah, it's just it's easier.
Yes, it's sign language for beginners.
well,
You learn it at an early age.
That's the first thing you learn.
I mean, one of the popular Italian expression is that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean, hi, how are you going? I hope you have a lovely day. That would be very English.
nope.
Mhm.
Oh, and Adrien Perkins is unable to make it because he is any words with H in, I can't say them. He has had an accident and he's on strong painkillers,
Oh,
so he's a bit
Oh,
iffy. So
that could have made for a really interesting show.
What? He can't
that's what
come.
Paul said. Paul said exactly the same.
What a coincidence.
Have you two been talking? So, we're kind of talking about conspiracy theories. So
That's
we're gonna move on from what we were talking about earlier because I don't really want to get shut down. And I was gonna ask the question to both Albert and Paul: what are their thoughts on Bohemian Grove?
That's a strange subject. Maybe Albert knows more than me. Some U.S. presidents have been there, and it's a very closed society of strange play acting and owls and just weird stuff going on there.
yeah. Well, what I heard is the same thing as Skull and Bones. You know, it's a secret society, and a lot of the members, past and future and present, maybe future, have a lot of influence in world affairs and stuff like that. I don't know, for some reason. But I'm not too much into a conspiracy guy here, but that's what I know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big-
There's
No,
a photo of Nixon and Reagan attending a Bohemian Grove meeting, and I think Herbert Hoover went out there. I'm not sure about Eisenhower, but it was Nixon and Reagan's home state, and they had to make nice with all the big shots and the donors. So you would probably show up there. I had one question for George, since he's a longtime Australian.
I hope so. I was born here.
There was a story in the 60s. You actually had a prime minister who waded into the ocean and disappeared forever? Or did they find his body?
No, they haven't found Harold since. Harold went for a swim at Mornington in Victoria on Port Phillip Bay. Nasty place, beautiful area. I lived there in the late 70s. Very expensive area. And rough seas. It's a nasty, nasty bay, Port Phillip Bay. And he liked going out for a dip. And Christmas Eve morning, in other words, the morning before Christmas Day, Harold Holt, our esteemed Prime Minister, Liberal Party, which I think is, I can't remember what they are in the bloody England anymore, the Conservative ones. He went out into the sea and we haven't seen him since, but they believe a Chinese submarine.
There's a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
Oh, lots of rumors. Like the Rhapsody Grove and Skull and Bones and the Club of Rome, which I keep getting invitations from, which is really annoying. And the Illuminati, which I keep getting invitations from. And the Rothschilds. I'd like to post something and not have a Rothschild comment. You know.
I had one of them message me the other week asking me how I was. Obviously, it wasn't him.
Oh, I've had a few, but then they start selling me financial crap.
Yeah,
and I don't want it.
There's an
So
American
Some of
talk
them, they
show
want to be
host,
your friend,
extremely
like
controversial, named Alex Jones, who took some video. He made his way into the Bohemian Grove and took some video. I forget what he got, but he did sneak past security, and he wanted to know what was going on and record it for the world. You can Google it yourself.
yes,
Yeah, but there must
Yeah.
be a very strong community, a strong conspiracy group if I have actually got out of it again.
Yeah, if he's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even 5 points out of 100 for breaking a conspiracy.
if it's a video that I've seen, there wasn't much going on. Just like people stood about talking and music, eating and drinking.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Sounds like a
very.
political meeting.
Yeah, there weren't much
You
like
could have stayed at home and done that.
dark magic or anything going on, which is what you'd expect.
Sometimes it's nice just to get the coven together in person and get drunk and sacrifice a few virgins or whatever. If you can find one. In Australia, extinct, but there might still be one somewhere in the States. I mean, half the population are fundamentalists. So,
you know what?
Wow.
What I don't like about Australia is the spiders you guys got down there. They're bigger than my dog.
Yeah,
Swear to
is it
God.
the huntsman?
Huge.
oh, they're
I
all
don't
right.
know.
They won't hurt you. The funnel webs are bigger.
Are they?
And they'll hurt you. We had one come across the back of a couch when we were living in the barn a few years ago. The old house had fallen down. It was the most haunted house in Picton, according to national media. But that's another story. And we were living in the barn after it fell down, waiting to rebuild it. And of course, the big, furry funnel web, one of the deadliest spiders on Earth, because we only have deadly spiders here. And deadly snakes, and and he came wandering along the top of the couch. He was sitting on there, and Madam told me get it, and I gave her the usual joyful expletive one gives to one's loved ones as to what to do with it, which didn't involve me getting it. But eventually I had to get it and put it in a big jar and take it to the ambulance station. No, it wasn't because it was unwell. It's because the ambulance station is where you take your captured spiders so they can be sent off to be milked for antivenin. See, Australia's got it organised because so many people get bitten by the damn things. We need antivenins for them. They don't recommend catching snakes, though, to do the same, though we do milk them for antivenom. They're quite advanced in that because I think we got all the top 20 poisonous snakes.
Aren't you got an island that's just? I think
No,
it's called
Brazil.
Snake Island, and it's just full of snakes.
No, that's Brazil.
You sure? I'm sure
Yeah,
I watched it, and it was in off the coast of Australia.
No, our islands aren't too bad. New Zealand hasn't got any snakes.
No, it's definitely off the coast of Australia.
Yeah, Snake Island is Brazil. You're right,
Yeah, it's
George.
Brazil. It's
Oh, is
Noronha,
it?
there's something. Yeah.
Oh.
Like Brazilian names, there are 7 names in it, and you can't remember any of them.
I got a wrong part of the world anyway, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
that's fine.
I can do snakes. I don't do spiders.
Yeah, you just got to. It's the world is a flat thing. You just got to watch out at the edges.
Yeah.
Has Australia largely recovered from all those forest fires a few years ago?
Gradually, a few towns were burnt down. That was pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, I was working in the city, which normally is a 2-hour commute from home. I've retired now last September. And sometimes it took me 7 to 8 hours to get home through the smoke and the flames because the trains had stopped, buses had stopped, cars had stopped. You go on Shank's Pony, you continue because the missus is at home with the cat. Now I think these days, why didn't I stay home? You know, you do stupid things.
Yeah.
But no, the fires were terribly bad. We ended up being a bird sanctuary for a couple of years because they all came in a row, the king parrots and all the red cockatoos and you name it. We just fed them because they had no food anymore. The whole place had been burnt down. Oh, okay. Fred Flintstone is stating that Snake Island is off the Victoria coast. That's Flinders Island, not Snake Island. Flinders Island's renowned for its tiger snakes.
No.
Which are big, fat things that grow up to 2 meters long, highly venomous. But the lobsters and cream from Flinders Island are absolutely magnificent. That's in Bass Strait, which is the body of water between Victoria and Tasmania, which is a tiny little island to the south. It's bloody freezing most of the time. Yes, that is the answer to Snake Island, Andy. I said correct.
Yep. I don't know.
Snake Island. I'm in Australia. Everywhere's got snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My house had more brown snakes than you can poke a stick at. One used to follow Margaret around. We gave it a name. Brown snakes are the second deadliest snake on earth. What did we call that bloody snake, darling? She must have left for lounge room.
She's gone. She's had enough of you.
Mm-hmm.
She's always had enough of me.
Now to get a new pet snake.
Yeah.
Yes. I've forgotten its name. I christened it. And it was a little snake when it first went me. When I was out gardening, only about a foot long. Came up and reared its head, and its little head flattened out. Because I remember the cobra family. And I took off. And it just kept growing until it was nearly a metre and a half long. Silvery snake. Absolutely beautiful. But brown snakes are totally crazy. They are totally erratic. You can never predict the brown snake. So it followed Madam up the stairs once, and her fang marks were still in the screen door after it chased her. She'd upset it. Eventually, it was death by a shovel on the next door neighbour's front porch. I wish I could remember that snake's bloody name. It was around for years. Stupid things.
No, I'm good. I don't mind snakes.
Oh, why do you come to Australia?
I've only ever seen one wild snake in the UK. And I nearly ran it over.
Sammy was the name of the snake.
Sammy.
We were so used to the goddamn thing around the place. Wherever Madam was, it was a metre away. Gracias, Alberto.
The Brazilian island, Snake Island, but that's the actual name, Ilha de Queimada Grande. I haven't heard of the Australian.
It's Flinders Island.
Flinders, okay.
We don't call it Snake Island, not that I know of. We just call it Flinders Island. That's where the gigantic tiger snakes are. They reckon they grow to gigantic proportions because they're all stuck on an island together.
Yeah. So do you get many snakes in the US? I know you have different types of animals in different parts. I know there's rattlesnakes out in the desert and that. But what do you get like in the rest of the country?
We have garter snakes.
Yeah.
Rattlesnakes.
Well, I don't know where you're from, Paul, but yeah.
So you get quite a few.
I started researching the Cape Girardeau, Missouri UFO crash of 1941, which happened in farm country right outside my hometown of Cape Girardeau. I was warned repeatedly by people, don't go out there unless you have thick boots because there's rattlesnakes and copperheads, and they get big. They eat the mice, the rats, the chipmunks, squirrels, birds if they can get them, and they grow big and fat. Scary stuff.
Oh.
I hate the sight of their mating balls in mating season. We just got thousands of snakes at it in one mass. Oh, no, you can keep America. I wouldn't live there to be paid. You bears, you got snakes, you got wolverines, you've got, holy mother of God, I'll stay in Australia. Skippy's not going to kill me.
Yeah, but you're going to get into a fight with a kangaroo.
Yeah. They'll punch your lights out.
Nah.
Yeah.
We had a pet dingo years ago. He was all right, but used to upset the local farmers. This was out west. And the skippies, I had a friend who got punched out by one once, but we didn't like him anyway.
That's all right.
Kangaroo, yeah.
And he went, what's up, Skip? And it went bang.
Wow.
Like they can get jacked.
It's a conspiracy of kangaroos. That's what happened.
With they have abs, they have like an 8-pack and crazy muscles.
Pure muscle.
They walk around like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what's up? You want to fight?
Yeah, they look like they just came out of a local prison.
Yeah.
Skippies are fine. They rarely attack anyone.
Well, we have
the queue here to be who can attack
the badger, the fox, and the false black widow spider, and that is pretty much our predators.
The deaf
How about
adder.
the panthers? You got a bunch of panthers running around. You know
Yeah.
that.
Well, apparently they don't exist, but
Nothing we talk about apparently exists.
That's true.
well, apparently they do exist. We don't have them in the UK, but we do have them in the UK because I know loads of people that have seen them. So
I got books on the Surrey puma that go back to the 30s and 40s. Pumas wandering around the suburbs of London.
Do you still have fox hunts?
We stopped them.
not supposed to, but I drove through one about a month ago. So I'm going up this country road, and he had with the red jackets and the riding hats and all that on. And I looked to the left, and there was probably about 200. Is it beagles that they use?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 200 beagles. I'm like, oh my god! And I think they're allowed to do it on private property, but not on common land. You have to get the owner's permission.
In Australia, they kill a lot of wildlife just for the fun of it. They don't kill them to eat them. They just like killing things, foxes. So unfortunately, Greenie stopped us having fox hunts.
Yeah.
I'd rather the killer was let free.
No, there's not. I know they got banned, but there's like a thingy of how they can and can't do it. So that's all I know.
Let's start a horseback chupacabra hunt. And,
Yes.
serve a real purpose here. Bag one.
I'd like to know how the chupacabras got from Puerto Rico in the mid-60s to Texas by the mid-90s. And no one saw them on the ship or on the plane. I mean, you'd know if there's a chupacabra sitting on seat VWD in your local flight from Puerto Rico to Texas.
Tunnels.
The chupacabra and the alleged chupacabra in Texas is just a mangy dog. It's not a real chupacabra.
I've seen it. It's
the real chupacabras are the one that started in Puerto Rico, like you said, but in 1990s. And then there were reports of them in Central America and even here in South Florida. But then some people started saying that those coyote hybrids, dogs, mangy, they were chupacabras. No, they're not chupacabras. Chupacabra is completely different. It's the animal with the crest in the back and the big eyes.
I was going to say the chupacabra, the one with the spines coming out the back, and they're supposed to be like a bluish colour.
some varieties, yes. And they walk upright as well, which is a bit different to the ones in Texas.
Here in South Florida, the big problem we have is the pythons. The Burmese pythons that people brought in for pets, and they released them into the Everglades.
Yeah.
Now we're hunting them down because they were destroying the Everglades. They're eating everything else. Yeah, and they're huge, and now they have a bunch of people trying to hunt them down, trying to control them.
Yeah, at least our 18 to 25 foot long snakes are native to the country. The Burmese pythons are a major ecological pest.
They are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've got the adder. I think that's what I seen. It was crossing the road in front of me. For some reason, I stopped the van, jumped out. I was planning on grabbing hold of it and throwing it in the back of my van.
What were you smoking that morning?
Because I'd never seen one in the wild before. I don't know what I was going to do if I grabbed hold of it.
Deaf adders are native to England.
Sorry?
Deaf adders are native to England.
Don't know.
They are. They're recorded in medieval manuscripts.
Take your word on it.
When it comes to obscure and bizarre, I'm pretty well it.
Wikipedia says it's native to Australia.
The deaf adder?
Mm-hmm.
DAF?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually in England. Or the normal adder must be in England then.
Yeah, the boring one.
Who colonized Australia?
Oh, a wonderful question.
British people. They brought snakes with them.
No, they didn't bring anything with them other than rabbits and foxes. Oh, and British people, so they're free pests.
The adder is the UK's only venomous snake.
I got my adders mixed up. I knew it didn't add up. Boom, boom.
It's a regular adder.
Yeah. No, I'll stick to the UK and just take me chances of getting barked at by a badger. That's it.
At least badgers are pretty.
Yeah, I've seen. Have you seen the US? Obviously, you've seen the US badgers, the American ones, compared to the UK ones.
You don't want a badger. I mean,
No, if you look at an American badger, it looks like a UK badger on meth. It's a massive difference.
Yeah, your badgers
badger
are
in the
cuter.
hood.
I just looked it up.
It's like there was a meme that come up. It's like American badger and a US badger. The American badger
looks like methamphetamine badger.
Yeah, and then the UK badger would invite you around to its den for a cup of tea.
And a honey badger will just mess you up.
Oh yeah,
You don't mess
Really
with a honey
sweet.
badger.
Bug of a honey badger.
Lovely name though.
Yeah, very deceiving.
yeah. I think I'm going to say it's very deceiving.
What did a
You know what we
stranger-
have that's pretty. What? Oh, I'm sorry. We have here in South Florida out in the wild running around, and they're a pain in the ass, but they're protected, and we can't really. I mean, I wouldn't want to hurt them because I don't hurt animals, but we got peacocks. They go around and they usually go up into the roofs of your house, and they walk around the top of your roof, and they jump down, and they're all over the place. And then I go around, where the hell do they hide during the day? And most of the time you can see them in the afternoon, but they're
Have you heard them?
And do I what?
Have you heard the noises they make? The peacocks.
Oh yeah, you hear them too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very loud.
Pythons would take good care of them.
Yeah, I've got a stuffed one. A stuffed female peacock in my sitting room.
Oh,
Top of a bookcase.
That's cute.
Yeah, she's cute. She hasn't got a big tail, being a female. It's the males that always make themselves look wonderful.
yeah.
The female.
Pheasants, billions and billions of pheasants.
Yeah, I've got one sitting next to the pigeon,
Pheasants,
next to the peacock.
They're everywhere. You'll be driving along and it would just run out in front of you. Or quails. Loads of quails as well. They just come out of nowhere. They hide in the grass at the side of the road. And as soon as you're like at 5 foot away, it's there. It's like, what the hell? So,
and what about
alien
birds?
Who?
What about alien birds? The latest sightings of pterodactyl-like creatures.
Yes, I have.
New York and South Carolina.
Yeah, but I've seen one.
A mothman?
Tell us about your...
Or a
Pterodactyl. Seen a pterodactyl. I spoke about it so much. I've passed it on to a guy. He's normally in the chat. He's put it in one of his books.
You smoke?
Everyone in the chat is going to go, not the pterodactyl story again.
Always the pterodactyl story.
But I was living just north of London, about 40, 50 miles north of London. And I was in the back garden. It was a clear night and I was sky watching. Because sometimes if you stood in the right place, it cut out all the street lighting. So you'd have no artificial light. And a couple of times you've been able to see the Milky Way. Yeah. And so I'm out. I was looking for it. Couldn't see it. So I had me back to the house. Anyway, I turned around to go back in the house. I had my phone in my hand. I just put the telescope in that away. And for some reason, I just looked up to my right. And I could just see this. Is like I said, it was a clear sky. A really dark tan-coloured thing just going across the sky. And I watched it. It was just above the top of the house. What do you call it? The house line that runs all the way across, like the
Roof line.
house. The what? Sorry.
The roof line.
Yeah, the roof line. That's it. So the houses are in a row, and then I just watched it go from, say, south to north. Didn't flap its wings, didn't move, didn't bob, didn't make any sound. And I just stood there watching it. I didn't take my eyes off it. I watched it from when I seen it till it flew out of sight. And it was I'd say at least 24 foot long. And the wingspan was easily 16 foot, if not more. It was a really dark. Sorry?
It's been so many of those reports of flying pterodactyls. Not the only one.
This is the best bit. Too. Yeah, no, this is the best bit. So I was doing a show on air probably about 6-8 months ago. I can't remember what I was talking about. And a guy got in contact with me who lived about 5 miles south of where I was living at the time. And he said he'd seen a similar sort of thing. He told me where he was when he'd seen it. Basically, he's parked up in Asda car park with his missus watching the sunset. So it was like middle of summer. It was about, he said it was about 8:30, 9:15. And he said he seen it, and then it just started flapping its wings. And it's like, as it flapped its wings, it just grew. And both him and his missus were watching it for about 5 minutes, and then it just flew out of sight. But the way it flew was on the same line as what I was. So I was watching it from west, and he was watching it from the east. Not at the same time, but it was around about the same time of year and the same year. So I'd say it was late summer. So you're talking August going into September. And it was flying on the same flight path as the one what we both seen, but at different times and different times of the day. Mine was about 11:30 at night, and his was like 8:30, 9:15 in the same area.
A kite, a drone, a model?
Someone actually messaged me and said, was it a kite? I thought, well, if it was a kite, it was a very, very, very long piece of string or rope. Mm-hmm. And it just, but it didn't move, it didn't sway, didn't move, it didn't open its mouth. It didn't do anything. And this is, so obviously these are from, not photos. This is the angle that I seen it from. But it's probably about 3 times the size of that.
Did it have the tail and web feet?
The tail, I couldn't tell if it had web feet. But with the tail, it had that, like, it's not a ball, but it's like the diamond thing at the back. So that's the angle that I seen it, but it was more like that.
Now, how many times have you seen Jurassic Park movies?
Yep.
Well, in theory, in America, they're cloning like a woolly mammoth to bring it back. And
yes, I read about that the other day.
And so who knows what private lab is doing cloning of old dinosaur DNA. And, you know, something got loose, just like in the Jurassic Park movie.
Oh, no, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, there's one theory.
After I'd seen that, I think it was my second podcast interview for somebody else. And the guy, Craig, that was interviewing me, he actually said that he's had quite a few, same as Albert, quite a few sightings of these creatures, and they don't flap. They get into a thermal drift, and they just stay there. Because obviously, if they are what we're led to believe they are, dinosaurs or reptiles, they're cold-blooded, so they need to conserve their energy.
Yeah, well, they're birds.
To stay alive, yeah. But I don't know, are they warm-blooded, they cold-blooded? We don't know, do we? I don't know. I know birds are warm-blooded, but reptiles are cold-blooded.
They found out that dinosaurs were birds. They should be represented with feathers. But I
think these sightings of pterodactyls are time slips, that all of a sudden there's some kind of time distortion, and you are able to see into the past.
Yeah.
Like some people are able to see
But
into
the
the
thing-
future once in a while.
But I had my phone in my right hand. I did not even contemplate taking a photograph.
That's normal.
Even though I'd been taking photos of the stars and the moon and all that, trying to get.
That's perfectly normal in most
I know.
sightings of anomalous phenomena. You're either carrying your fuzzy Bigfoot or fuzzy UFO camera, which is a shitty one, or
Yeah.
you don't take photos. The Loch Ness groups that sit there on the edge waiting patiently. I've
Yeah.
recorded so many times. The only minute they were away from the camera, hello,
Yeah,
or,
pops
how
up,
are you?
gone.
How are you? I'm just looking
Yes,
around
yeah,
here
yeah.
and gone. An interesting feature. I like patterns. That's a good thing about writing thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of books based on actually reading things. Is my pterodactyl sighting? Yes, I know. Was on a major highway in 1974. I was tired. I wasn't driving. My mate was driving. We're coming back from Sydney to a place called Wagga. We're about 55 miles east of Wagga. And I could swear to this day I saw a pterodactyl hanging off a street lamp.
Wow.
One of those big highway street lamps.
Yeah.
And to this day I can see this brownish yellow pterodactyl hanging off the street lamp. And yet, technically, they aren't supposed to exist. But one of the major themes in my research is people enter a witching hour in their mind and in their senses.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, late at night, they go into a sub-hypnotic state. And that's when they see them, mate. That's when Albert,
So this is a question then.
you
Right.
open up. No, I'll finish first. You open up your senses by unfiltering them.
That's in my book too.
They call him Mbembe. Yeah. You open up your senses by getting rid of all the barriers to everything. And that's when you start seeing UFOs, Bigfoot, the giant birds, the whatever else you want. The Macaulay, not sure about the Macaulay Mbembe. It might actually exist, but we don't know. We have so many parallel multiverses. Because my main research is multidimensional openings and how to get them and how to go through them. I've written tens of thousands of pages on those ones. Very few people have read them because the books are so goddamn huge. But these entries open up at times because you've removed unconsciously your filters to seeing what may or may not come through them. Plus, I've got a few other theories to account for it as well.
But my question is, if it is a time slip, is that in the time slip? Are you in the time slip? Or are you both? Are you both in the time slip?
Or are you seeing a hologram appearing from the time slip?
It's hard to say because
until it bites you, you won't know.
Maybe maybe they're the ones that are experiencing the time slip, and all of a sudden they showed up in our timeline.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Could be.
That's why I say about ghosts and spirits. Are they looking at us like we're not supposed to be there, like the way we're looking at them?
And yet a lot of reports, they come specifically. I did a radio show 4 billion years ago. And all the call-ins I got that morning.
That's a time slip, I'm sure.
No, it was just a long bloody time ago. And the main theme for some reason that morning was Nana died, and 2 days later Nana appeared at the foot of the bed to say goodbye. The thing is, it wasn't one who rang. It wasn't two who rang. It was the entire bloody program that rang about Nana. Different Nanas, of course. So they, in that case, we acknowledge that Nana was departing within 2 to 3 days, which is in old accepted mythologies and religions. 3 days is how long they hang around to say goodbye, pack their bags, do whatever. So, yes, they must acknowledge from that dimension as well. But when you're talking about historic ghosts, are they trapped in a time slip or a snapshot of ghost video for just continuous loop?
Yeah, like
It's constantly playing one loop up the staircase through the door that doesn't exist.
residual.
Interesting story again. My house was regarded as the most haunted house in Picton. It was a run-down colonial inn. Not old by English standards, but nearly 200 years old, which is amazing for Australia. And it was a dump, literally. It fell down, as I said, as it crashed down. And bore us. One day, I discovered a doorway between... A house had been turned into 2 flats.
Okay.
And I found where the door was to go from back to where you could convert it back into one house. Good sized house. This door had been bricked up years ago. And I chipped at the door. Well, I wasn't working at the time. Madam was at work. She came home. And what's this bloody great hole doing here? I said, it's a doorway. It wasn't there this morning. Anyway, doorway's standing there. She moves into the other side of it to set up this big kitchen. And lovely looking room she set up. Big pine table in the middle, flowers on it, stuff like that. And she's in the kitchen doing something. A few days later, humming away to herself. The next second, a black cowled figure comes charging out of the hole in the wall, which was the door. Knocked everything off the table, went straight through the wall at the other end of the room, which we later found out was actually another bricked up doorway. This place had been bricked off. So what were they keeping in there or keeping out? And I know that she wasn't off her face at the time. She's a very reasonable. She's a Margaret. She's a Leo. You can't get straighter than that. And she wasn't hallucinating. Yeah. Is it a loop?
God knows.
Yeah, and well, she's really pissed off, pardon the expression, about the stuff that was broken on the floor. So that wasn't a loop though either.
No.
It was a new loop. But we got so many dimensions constantly together in the multiverse. I don't believe in the universe. I believe in the multiverse. That we can at times, we are still working out how to advertently go through them. But a lot of times, inadvertently, we've got Bigfoot's wandering along, is doing nothing much, he's just whistling, minding his own. They do whistle. The next second, he's in the northwest of the United States for 6 hours at 2 o'clock in the morning, then gone again. But that doesn't explain Bigfoot, because a lot of Bigfoots are native. They're recorded on every continent on Earth apart from Antarctica, only because we haven't found one down there. There's nothing for them to eat anyway. Unless they eat penguins all the time. I think they get sick of it.
You're not allowed to look anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It's too bloody cold.
Anyway, that's the entrance to Hollow Earth, but that's another story.
Oh, the bird expedition in 1947.
That's another show.
Love all that. Whether it's real or fake, it's just a great story.
Yes, welcome to Agatha. If any of you have read it.
I just buy books to look at.
Agatha is the Himalayan entrance to the Hollow Earth.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Agartha.
Please Google. Amazing how a lot of the myths are international.
Yeah.
And
I have heard of it. Yes.
You know, Albert talked about people introducing the predator python to an unnatural environment, South Florida. If we can believe we're being visited by various races, are some of them unleashing predators like chupacabra, Bigfoot, pterodactyl type bird, Mothman, and that could be an explanation. They're just turning them loose. Let's see what happens. You know, feast on animals or people here.
See, that's my
counter.
thing about Bigfoot. I'll just tell you quickly.
Theory, yeah,
My thing of Bigfoot now is I don't believe it's supernatural. I believe it's a natural living creature or person, or I don't know what to call it. I've never seen one, but I don't know if I believe they're from Earth. If they're not, I think they've been brought here by a different race, and they've been dropped off and left to, whether they've been dropped off to scout or do whatever. But I believe that they are natural living creatures, and some they either stay or they get dropped off and they get taken back however long after. But I don't think they're anything like mystical and all that kind of stuff.
I'll answer that one for you. May I?
Go.
I always intrude anyway.
He does.
I do. As I said, I've written one of the most astounding themes I've met in Bigfoot research, and I've written thousands of pages on Bigfoot. Got more than any other author on earth, and they never buy my bloody books, the bastards, but that's all right. I'm understandable. I wish I would buy them, but I like writing them anyway. I'm addicted to it. One strange theme that I was being interviewed in New York a few years ago, except I was still in Australia. I do everything by Zoom or Barnyard or Farmyard or whatever it is, which is the best one. And I said, it's amazing. I can't work it out. And he said, what can't you work? I said, it's about Bigfoot. The most obvious feature that no one ever mentions, and it's probably the American prudery, which is amazing. It's strange to an Australian to be a prudish country. That is the most common sighting. The most common sighting is Randy and Andy are out driving. It's 2:00 in the morning. They might have had a few beers. They might not have had a few beers, but they need to get out of the car to relieve themselves, which has a total different meaning in Australia. And whilst they are relieving themselves on the side of a road, something starts throwing rocks, sticks, screaming, yelling, appearing, jumping up and down and carrying on like a banshee. And it's big and it's hairy and it stinks. And I said it's a majority of Bigfoot sightings that I've got recorded. And you know what it is? He said, what? It's Anthropology 101. It's standard ape behaviour. You whittle on their territory and they go ape shit, literally.
Yeah.
So, that's an anthropological answer. But also, there are Wendigos mentioned by the Amerindians and native groups the rest of the world that appear and disappear that have the same shape and form, but are regarded as nastier. And then I said, we're going to throw a third banshee into the pot. Nothing against banshees. I've met many. I thought I was married to one once, but that's a different story. We have 1954, the great French UFO plague, literally flap, that Michel records in France that spread from west to east. An odd way of doing things, but all major flaps run from west to east, if you can figure that one out. And 6 times in October, in a season of lots and lots and lots, I mean, this was a plague. Albert would know this. What happened in October 1954 in France.
There was hundreds of UFO landings
and landings.
entity encounters.
UFO landings.
Humanoid, yes.
It landed.
There you go.
Down with the ramp. Oh no, that's a different story. This is 1968 starting. Sorry. Still the UFO, still landed. They didn't see it come out of it. There's a 4.5 foot tall furry creature with big eyes wandering around. Excuse me. Okay, we're being normal aliens everywhere, apparently. We got a furry Littlefoot coming out of a UFO. Now that's not weird enough. 1968, Uniontown, Pennsylvania. And a series of other events from then on. This is 7 years before Star Wars. So we can't allow for Star Wars interfering or planting images.
Chewbacca.
Once again, down it comes.
Chewbacca.
The ramp comes down. And this time it's the full-size version coming out.
Yeah.
Lots of witnesses, different sightings, same full-size Chewbacca. Maybe the 54 ones were Wookiees, I'm not sure. So where do they come from? We now have 3 types of Bigfoot. Normal, gets really annoyed when you're piddling in their territory, and also fascinated by you when you're, American euphemisms again, I love them. Courting. Courting, what a wonderful term. Australians have a bit cruder, but I won't use that term now because Albert's here and he'll get upset. A couple are apparently studying for their SATs in the back of a car in the middle of the forest. As you do.
Sure, they got a lot of studying done.
They did a lot of studying, and next second,
Down Lover's Lane.
up and looks in the window.
They fail the
Hello.
test miserably.
They're fascinated by our
And
sexuality.
that's why.
Is it the pheromones? Is it just for a view? I mean, go to the zoo, and when you see one monkey couple doing the wild thing, I hate such
Wild thing.
And
I was waiting for someone to do that.
And if they're bonobos, they're all joining in. It's conga line time. Because you wouldn't want to be in a conga with a Bigfoot, but I've heard of it.
Is there an echo? I hear an echo too.
I don't know. Depends if Bigfoot's at the front, then yeah, I'd be happy. I won't want it behind me.
If your simians is up to you.
No echo here.
No echo here.
I hear something.
Anyone else got an echo?
No.
So anyway,
I hear like
It's not just George talking.
It's just me annoying you all. And hi, Jojo. Lovely to see your notes earlier.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think Bigfoot is totally a paranormal entity, Andy. That's my opinion. I think there's been so many cases in which Bigfoot has been reported to have telepathic abilities. They're able to vanish in front of your eyes in a flash of light. You shoot them 30 times, and you shoot them, and there's no effect at all. I mean, where are the bodies of the? I guess you could say that with the aliens too. But where are the Bigfoot bodies in the woods?
Where are
I get the telepathy in that because dolphins have the ability to use telekinesis. Is it telekinesis? Yeah, I was getting mixed up. Yeah,
telepathic.
Telepathic, yeah. So dolphins and that, and I think there's a couple more. Can't think what they are that have the ability to do it.
Yeah, there is a whistling. I've a veteran with me.
Can hear music.
The music.
He's playing with pan.
I think
someone circus is coming.
I think it's here.
Join hands now, everybody.
Yeah, so I believe that they have the ability to use telepathy to communicate and put messages in your head from a distance, because I've spoke to people and interviewed them that have had that happen to them. So I get that. I think that's why I'm on the path of thinking that they're not from Earth. But then, have they been here for that long that they've started to breed and they've settled here, and this has become their home?
Lots of reports of little ones.
Yeah, where are the baby Bigfoots and teenage Bigfoots and elderly, sickly, hunched over Bigfoots? And as Albert said, where are the bodies or skeletons of other ones?
But you find elephant bodies.
Other than like roadkill, when was it? Has anyone ever seen a baby crow out in the wild? Or a dead crow that's not been hit by a truck? Raven, crow, or a pigeon?
Dead crows.
Yeah. But you never see the skeletons of the birds, and there's millions of them.
They're not really birds.
The drones.
They're
drones.
Only in the US.
They're eating them all, so there you go.
Yeah, only in the US you have bird drones because someone's got that much time on their hand that they can manufacture that many and control them.
Yes. They'd have to have
Actually,
it's like
some guys going around in a van saying that the birds are drones or whatever.
it's
Yeah.
like
Crazy.
I'm going to change subjects completely. The 1897 or 1896 to 1897 airship flap. I hope you're all aware of it.
Wow, before my time.
Okay, 1896 to 1897, they started seeing gigantic airships appearing over California, Washington, Oregon, and these started drifting to the west, once to the east, west again. It's weird with things, same as 1954. And they had every type of airship ever described. They had propellers on one end, propellers on two ends. They had blazing lights. They had occupants. They had potatoes fall out of them. They had them come down to get newspapers. It's all reported, all in the newspapers of the day. And also reports of people saying they'd made contact. There's panpipes. And who's summoning Viracosha? Or Viracosha?
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Neither.
It's just one of our interviews, that's all. And
It's Friday.
some
Yep.
people were said to have been found who talked to people and they said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "We're from Dayton in Ohio. And this thing's 150 feet long. And we manufacture these there." Or we're in another little town elsewhere in the United States and we're going to Cuba to fight this American-Cuban War, American-Spanish War in 1897.
Spanish, yeah.
And all of these different weird stories. And I was looking at atlases from the 1890s. I've got a big store of atlases. I love them. And you go to these little towns, and the town's 500 people at the time. Where do you hide a 150-foot hangar for an airship? You know, the neighbours would notice.
Yeah. Might stick
Especially
out a
if
little
there's
bit.
things coming and going from it. Considering these things were meant to have huge searchlights on them, but
Sorry.
searchlights weren't invented then, and the batteries weren't invented to do it, which would have weighed more than the bloody airship. But with a lot of UFO phenomena, I've also found, yes, I've always found, I know it's me, I have. Anyway, I'm sure Albert's found more than me, but he's too modest to start boasting about it.
No.
Mind you, I've read
Yeah,
all of his books and I love them. And
I read most of your books, but you got so many books, I'll never be able to read
I
them
know.
all.
I think that's what
I got
stops
a whole
people
stack
from
of
buying
books I
them.
haven't read.
128 books. Working on a big one now. I've been doing it for the last 10 months. Me, 10 months on one book. Normally I whip them out in 2 months.
You've written 128 books. I've not even read 128 books.
They're all on Amazon. 128 of them. As I said, I write more on these subjects than anyone else. All in chronological order as well, because of Asperger's, it has to be organised.
Yeah.
And I make them easy to read. They're not for academics. They're for people to just enjoy.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the themes I've noticed, going back to the 16th and 17th century UFO sightings, is the technology of the phenomenon is always slightly ahead of the imagination of the observer. I'll let that sink in. So, in this period where there's only balloons, the Zeppelins haven't been built yet till 1902. It's 5-6 years before. People are seeing Zeppelins with propellers, without propellers, lights, lights, camera dancing, everything, except no cameras in either for film. So forget that one. Still cameras, though, which still photos I've seen from Chicago in that period of airships. And then in the 30s and 40s, we suddenly got rockets when no one's built them yet. It's one step ahead. And then we got saucers by the 48 and 7 saucer crashes that I know of in the Roswell area in July 48. And then we got triangles by the 80s. It's always one step ahead of the imagination.
Yeah.
Are people
Boomerang,
creating
yeah.
the visions and bringing them? Because what I've also proposed is there are set places in time and space that open up to give you the power, unintentionally or intentionally, if you knew what you were doing, to create the phenomena in your own image. So some people will see a Virgin Mary, other people will see Bigfoot, other people will see one of our old favourites, Albert Orthon from Venus. Tall, blonde, Nordic. God, he's been seen for years.
Albert.
How much of a creation of ours, or what actually happens is something uses the multidimensional warp or opening. Our brain has only one way of understanding things, and that is to create things in its own reality, or its own cultural loading. And so this thing becomes a physical object leaving physical traces based on the observer's reality.
Okay, question then. I need to
sorry, I'm not answering questions today.
No, tough.
He's asking them.
Yeah, I'm asking him. Didn't say you have to answer it. So if that is true, that would make sense then as to where are all these extraterrestrial vehicles manufactured, and also when they do crash land, the reason that they leave them is because they physically cannot be repaired if they're manifested.
Very good idea.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea of the reality of UFOs, because they are physical things, one of the best examples was Pennsylvania, 1967 or 68. My memory's going, unfortunately. It's got too much
65.
jam.
Kecksburg? Yeah.
No, not Kecksburg.
Kecksburg.
This is only a little
Not
one
Kecksburg?
where a UFO came out of the sky straight through a billboard and took off into the sky again.
Oh.
Imagine, you just travelled out of the multiverse at hyperspeed. You're in mum and dad's old Chevrolet version of a UFO. You're off for a drive, and suddenly you've changed dimensions, and you can't even stop, and you're going through a billboard, and then you're off again to explain why there are dents on the UFO.
Well, it's like that's like the one, was it Texas that hit the wind turbine?
Yeah, and they were one smashed into a water
supposed
tank.
Burial of one or more aliens.
That's Aurora, 1897, April 16th.
I just remember what.
Paul, correct my
I don't
dates.
remember what happened. I wasn't there, but I remember the story of what happened.
Crashed into Judge Proctor's windmill.
Yeah.
Was buried in Aurora later. Half of the headstone disappeared in 67.
Yeah, but they think that was just vandalism.
Yeah. But, well, I have a
Forget
story,
writing
and it was in the
encyclopedia.
middle.
George is an encyclopedia.
That is the Great Airship Flap, as we were discussing, that actually started in 1896 in late October.
Have you heard of a UFO investigator author, Kevin Randles?
Yes, lots of times.
Kevin's got a theory that the Aurora crash of 1897 was a military hot air balloon. They were experimenting by putting it metal clad for like using in war. And it got carried away in the strong Texas breeze and smacked into a house. That's all there was to it from his point of view anyway. Just interesting theory.
No, it's good. Randall's always comes up with some great observations, and Jenny Randall's as well.
There was Fort Hood and Fort Worth and a couple of other Army forts, and they were experimenting apparently with balloons, hot air balloons to use them in war to drop maybe bombs or something, or to spy on your enemy. So it's at least an interesting, plausible theory.
Yeah, they've been using them since the 1860s in the Civil War.
Yeah,
for spying and dropping the occasional grenade. But I'm not sure how a metal sheathed balloon, the metal would obviously be for armor plating.
Yeah.
No amount of air would get an armor plated balloon up into the air. That's the problem. Thank you, Johnny Topside. I think it's only half of the headstone broken at an angle.
I think there's still a little bit left on it.
Yeah, the base
is
still left there.
Do you guys get? Oh, you probably do. The channel, is it Bravo? Brave? Is it Brave?
Bravo, yes.
Bravo. I can't think which one it is. They do a lot of paranormal shows on that, and that's on there quite a lot.
The Aurora incident?
Yeah.
But it was only part of a massive wave that started
Oh yeah, that
the
was
West
like
Coast, and that was already 7 months after it started, and it was heading out. It had gone south after being in the Great Lakes region and headed south through Texas and gone again. And it's weird because the
Well, we
54
got
flap. Sorry.
you know,
Yes.
Roswell wasn't the only crash. Like you mentioned, Cape Girardeau back in '41, and there was the Trinity crash in '45, and I'm sure there's been
I
other
got
crashes
reports of
before
7
1947.
crashes near Roswell.
And whatever
Yeah.
happens to those craft,
47.
It was as if they were keeping a close eye on our atomic energy, weapons and experimentation and technology to deliver those weapons. And that was of great interest to them. And maybe to this day, they keep showing up over missile silos and nuclear bomb type stations or air bases that have weaponry like that.
And they've got the power to actually turn them off.
Yeah.
Quite a few reports of your
That's
ICBM
right.
is not going anywhere today. Now, if we can get the damn things to hover over Russia, it'd be a good day.
Yes.
But that's purely a political thing on my part. Where does this all begin and where does it
Sorry,
all
1
end?
second.
Russia, it's a big country, Andy. It's
Right, Nicole's just sent me the images of that headstone in Texas. So
Thanks,
I'm
Nicole.
just gonna
Love your work.
upload them. So we've got them from
The late
the first
80s.
one. Then the 80s, and then present day. So this is what it looked like originally, or what was left of it.
And that's supposed to be his spaceship on.
Three
Kind of
portholes,
open to interpretation, though.
Yeah, that's what's left of it. Well, that's an airship.
airship type. Yeah.
Could be. And then this is the 80s. Party zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they even brought him water. That's nice.
Everything.
They
Put him a lot of
Flowers,
crap, too.
the flag.
A
And
mask.
then that's what it's like now.
That's disgusting.
His name was Ned.
Ned.
Ned, that was it.
Yep.
He
they
never
named him
spoke.
Ned.
Yeah. How did you know? Did he leave an ID?
That's what he was christened. He was christened Ned, and they gave him a proper burial.
What if we tick off the aliens so much that we're leaving garbage all over their gravesite? They come back, We want that body back.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you're treating our friends here.
Interesting. The big stream of UFO events occurred after Aurora, the big stream in Texas. So were they coming to Earth to see where the hell is Ned? What's happened to Ned? Because that was when the big flap at the end of the 87, or middle actually, it was the end of the flap at the middle of the year over Texas.
I'm led to now believe that these accidents, these crash UFOs, were done on purpose to give us a bit of insight as to advance your technology. You're going to need it.
Yeah, but why would you crash it? Wouldn't you just hand over something intact?
But if you was to do that, if you used to just hand it over, what are the chances of them coming down and going, yeah, you can have this before they're getting dragged away and tests done on them and putting giant glass tubes in certain air bases? Do you know what I mean? So if you come down and crash it.
Yeah, but isn't that a bit like giving a dog a saxophone?
Have you seen my dog play the
sax? It may not
sax?
be quite that stupid. I think we learned a lot from what we recovered.
Yeah, but to the mentality and intelligence of the dog, it would still be like giving it a saxophone.
But then it's like, look, you need to learn, you need to will give you some of the information. You've got to work the rest out for yourself.
Reverse engineering.
Come
Yeah.
back to
Mhm.
conspiracy theories.
It's all right with
Theories.
showing you, but like Nicole said, with reverse engineering, you work out how it works by doing the reverse of it.
I sent you an image, Andy, of
Yeah, I'm just
the
gonna
Aurora
upload it.
thing.
So this is an actual photograph of the alien funeral.
Yeah, right. Right.
There you go.
I was there and I took the photo of the alien right there. See?
And Anna Nicole
Indian in the
Smith
back.
is there too.
There you go.
Yes, yes. And
She
her
was from
husband.
Texas,
You have a green screen going on.
Yeah. They aren't melungeons, are they? Very little greenish.
What a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nothing much else to do in the Texas backwoods. Anyway,
Jim Mars was big. He was a Texas journalist who looked into that story. And even he admitted that a lot of Texans were into tall tales, creating tall stories and sharing them because there was no radio back then, no television, no computers, no internet. So you would entertain each other with creative fiction. And that has to be taken into account, too.
but they also had telegraph and newspapers everywhere. Even the smallest pissant of a village had a newspaper because it was the internet of the day. That was the internet terminal for the village. And eventually, you had to look at fact verification over the news broadcasts.
Yeah.
Which ones are crap and which ones aren't. So the airship dropping the potato, we're not sure. The airship hooking the sailor up with an anchor, there are about 10 of those actually, aren't there, Albert? In the 1897 flap, where people were grabbed by their clothes from anchors coming from airships.
Would you sell more
There's
newspapers
a
with
case
more
from
creative
Texas
stories?
like that.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are about 10. I got hundreds. I'm going to write a book on 18. Yeah, but it's only going to be a little book of a few pages. I couldn't be bothered. I did start writing little books on things too, only 40 to 50 pages. But I thought that's too small. Who the hell's going to read this? I did one on Wiltshire UFO sightings. That was interesting. I like Wiltshire.
Yeah. Should go.
No.
We'll meet you.
Costs
you
too
mean
much
that?
money.
You like it that much,
There's
you
the,
don't even want to go. It's like, no, never getting me there.
I'd like to go with the missus somewhere, but the missus won't travel on a plane, so we stay here.
Go on a
They have
boat.
boats.
No, she hates boats as well.
Does she like
UFO?
cars?
No, she can't
UFO?
smoke on a boat and can't smoke on a plane. So she's not going anywhere.
We'll
She can't
send
have a
Andy
fag.
as a field reporter. He'll stay out there all summer until he gets something. You're not coming back till you get some footage or an interview.
But I'm actually going to Rendlesham next Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be
good luck.
That'll be the second time that I've gone to do like have a walk around and what have you.
My publisher contacted me the other day. She's never shown that much interest in UFOs at all. She and the ad executive of her book publishing company went to Sedona, Arizona, which she said is supposed to be a vortex or a dimension or whatever. She didn't believe much, but she did see some with her naked eyes. And she said they gave us some night vision glasses. And she said, oh my gosh, it was like the LA freeway. She literally is just agog now. She's a true believer. There's so much going on in the skies at night, and that's what you need to do, Andy. I've
got the night vision goggles.
Oh, cool. Then go for it.
I've got the Night Fox Swift Pro 2.
Oh.
You can record full HD.
Oh.
It's got a built-in rechargeable battery and built-in SD card, and I've got 2 square IR LED lights, and I've got a high-powered UV torch as well. And you can fit the UV torch and the LEDs on top of the night vision goggles. I'm doing that like I'm wearing them, but as a strap like a harness that fits on your head, and then you can just tilt them down, and you can have all the lights on the top, and you can fit your phone underneath of it as well.
And you haven't been arrested for prowling. Oh, sorry.
Can I just say, I've not left the house whilst wearing that.
Well, Sedona made a believer out of my previously uninterested publisher. So if you can go out to some sort of polar vortex or some sort of dimensional rift or area out in England, the ley lines or something, see what you can capture.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going Rendlesham next Saturday, meeting up with a few people. Other people who shall not be named in the chat were supposed to be meeting up, but they've decided to go on a cruise instead because that's more fun. So,
What? There's no buffet at Rendlesham?
well, there is. There's plenty of like grasshoppers and butterflies and
foxes. There you go.
Dead
pigeons. You might find the Surrey puma.
Hey, you never know. There have been sightings of big cats around there. But yeah, then I'm going to go to Cannock, I think, in about a month's time. And then at the end of July, I'm doing a paranormal road trip. So I'm going to go up north to Manchester, then across to Bempton, where Paul Sinclair, Truth Proof, where he does all his research up on the cliffs at Bempton. So I'm going to go to there. Then from there, drive down to Rendlesham. Then from Rendlesham down to Stonehenge. Then from Stonehenge back up to Cannock Chase. But we're going to be stopping at different points in between as well. Going to be doing it over 5 days.
Stonehenge is kind of Wiltshire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get your night vision goggles out and don't get arrested.
They are fully charged.
We're looking forward to big things now. Pressure's on you to get something.
It probably video me falling down and all because I can't see where I'm walking. That'll be about it. That'll be as good as it gets. Right, we've got a couple of questions because we've only got like 5-10 minutes to go. So first one, it's not really a question. It's more, well, it is and it's not. But I was thinking this earlier. I'm going to change what he's wrote. But Johnny Topside put, I wonder what an alien ghost looks like. So when we was talking about spirits and ghosts earlier and the time slip, do aliens see ghosts of aliens?
Do humans see ghosts of dead aliens like at a crash site in Roswell? Are there ghosts lingering around? Their spirits?
Because like when people witnessing a ghost, it's like it's not always, but it used to be someone like in Victorian clothing or Tudor clothing. It's not someone in a tracksuit or pair of Under Armour shorts. Do you know what I mean? It's always someone from like decades ago. So
it's like every time you read stories about people's incarnations, they always seem to be Cleopatra or Alexander the Great or Napoleon. They're not some poor little shit kicker that lived at 42 Guernsey Lane somewhere and died of
that'd be me.
Cholera. They're always celebrity incarnations.
Well, so many ghost stories involve, if you can believe them, a spirit who is upset because they lost their life suddenly in an accident or were murdered or an abrupt traumatic end, and they're still lingering in the earth plane. So if an alien crashed and died, would he have a soul or a spirit that's restlessly, I never thought of this before, but it's interesting.
No.
I might not.
But then if they're cloned, then they're not going to, are they? Because it's not. It's more of a program than a consciousness.
I don't know. I think the aliens, whoever they are or whatever they are, they actually don't die. They move on. I think just like we do.
Oh, I smell a screenplay out of this. This has got to be a movie capturing alien ghosts that are different from human ghosts, and
Yeah.
But I never heard of an alien ghost, though. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's a new one on me.
I have.
George can write the book.
Or an alien living, but we've been listening to, spirit boxes and different equipment, and they've told us they're aliens. that they're not from this world.
But are they demons?
Tricksters.
You look at Desmond Leslie's work in the early 60s, he equated UFO beings with demonology. That shadow world of fairies and demons is where everything ultimately comes from in lots of different guises. But once again, it evolves through the ages. So one generation, we're seeing the fairy dell we go into, and 30 years later we come back from. And the fairy feast, then we're meeting aliens later.
I'm copywriting that idea. That's my $1 million idea. Alien ghosts.
Yeah, alien ghosts is interesting.
Oh, pen it. We all need to pen it and get our share.
But one of the theories I've also read a lot of times actually is that all the greys are actually androids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Biological clones.
They're biological clones. So
and that's what I was saying. If they've no soul, then would there be a ghost of them?
Yeah.
And it's just when it dies, that's it. And then they just create more.
Just like artificial intelligence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do they move on too? Or
well, now you ruined my idea.
George, what do you do that for? You come on late. You're ruining people's ideas.
If they're robotic-like clones, then they don't have souls to roam the earth.
Don't know.
My movie's
If it is
ruined.
capable of seeing, thinking, and remembering, is it alive?
Mm.
If it's taking instructions.
7 laws of robotics.
Grasshopper's just put, who says clones don't have souls? How everything has a spiritual element.
I'll talk to my microwave about that.
If it's made out of energy, then everything's made out of energy. So there must be some.
Everything is energy.
Yeah, that a frequency or a vibration, it's not the same thing as a soul.
No.
But vibrations can create souls.
Then what is a soul?
We have robots in factories now that, do automation. They don't have a soul. They are programmed to do things. Are biological clones, as Colonel Corso said of the Roswell aliens. Would they have a soul? I don't know. You can speculate all day.
Well, that's what this is. It's all speculation, but speculation leads to thinking.
Oh, we can't have that.
People still speculate, do humans have souls? Or when you die, is that just it? So why wouldn't it be any different between aliens?
Look, I'm not even sure if I exist myself or this is some strange dream trip somebody is having.
But
a simulation. We're in a simulation.
Yeah. Og's just put, so how do we see a ghost ship if that hasn't got a soul?
You ask for ghosts to show it to you.
It's like an image.
I don't have an answer. I don't know. Didn't think of that.
Have you seen the thing where they're talking about how places, like that they're made out of wood and brick, and they have energy? Like a house can have its own kind of soul or energy.
It probably picks up energy from the previous occupants. Like you sometimes go and you see a building, if you're not going near it. No way known am I going into that. I still shouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, the Chinese call them I Chin, where they can't build.
Because the tree is living, and then you kill the tree to build the house. So do you have like tree ghosts in your house?
You could do.
It depends on what part of your brain you're traveling in at the time, because we only have a portion of that much of visible element to see. Mm-hmm. The rest of the multiverse is every other element that my cat can see that I can't see, that insects can see that I can't see, the birds can see that I can't see. And, they might see the pterodactyls wandering around normally until suddenly we're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
And suddenly, voila, here's your pterodactyl. How would you like it served?
So now Bill Murray and the Ghostbusters have to go after the tree ghosts that are angry at being chopped down.
Yeah, but they were going into their ship to go away.
Yeah. Right, here's a question then from Joe. I started the wrong one. What am I doing?
What am I doing? No, we don't know.
No, I don't know. How many have found a dead bear in the USA in the forest of the woods? How many dead bears have you found?
A lot of people have hunted dead bears.
I saw an image. I saw an image of a bear taking a poop in the woods. That's about it.
So we know that's true then.
Well, there's two reasons to stay out of the woods. There's bears
Yeah.
and there's bear poop,
Bear
apparently.
poop, yeah.
It does bear
Bear
shit
poop,
in the
yeah.
woods.
And Bigfoot
Yeah.
poop too.
And
I
it
mean,
does because Albert's
Then a
got an
lot
image
bigger
of
than
it.
bear poop.
So that's we don't know. We don't know, do we?
No. The more we know, the less we know.
Yeah.
Forests clean themselves up.
Right. Last two questions,
All right.
and then we're going to have to end it. So this is from Lost Souls,
No.
Daryl, who was on Wednesday. And he's asking, do they have guys in America, like Men in Black, for abandoned military grounds like they have in the UK?
We have Men in Black.
But for abandoned military
it's
grounds
like-
where they show up and scare you away?
Well,
Like
These, yeah.
security or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like
They have
paramilitary types.
Yeah, armed guards.
Yeah, but I don't think he's referring to armed guards. He's referring to
No,
like
because
the-
military are allowed to carry guns in the UK, and there's only certain police that can carry firearms. So
So what
in
happens
the
if you get in
States,
trouble?
everyone
You can
carries
just
guns.
run?
say that again.
What I heard, they usually
If
show
you
up
get in
right
trouble.
after you saw it. after you see
If it's a
UFO.
normal copper, you've probably got a good chance of getting away.
You just run?
Yeah,
See you later.
it's only armed response that carry weapons. Some carry tasers, and they have to give you like tons of warnings before they discharge it. And then you've got the armed response that carry like submachine guns, taser, automatic pistol, and all that kind of stuff. I only know because I know a couple of people that was in there. So
We don't have such things as warnings in America. We just open up and open fire on you, and
and that's it.
whatever we got, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. No,
warning.
you have
What's
to
a
warn you numerous times before anything's done. Sorry, my back's gone.
Yeah, we're now stabbing each other here because access to guns is hard.
Oh.
But
I
at
was
least
saying,
stabbing
yeah.
is personal.
Has a more personal touch to stab someone, I guess. Get up
It
close.
is. You're actually physically
more effort.
approaching them to do it instead of blasting a gun out of a car.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm glad I live in the UK. Bears, snakes, spiders, knives,
wouldn't be.
guns.
And they're all armed in America.
Pythons.
Yeah. If you encountered a bear in the US, you'd be happy to have a gun.
That's
Yeah.
one of the funny
Yeah,
things
you
about
would.
all these Bigfoot sightings. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them is all these people are out hunting and they can shoot a squirrel out of a tree at 200 yards. They've been doing it since they were knee high to a grasshopper. And they can't hit a Bigfoot at 20 feet.
Yeah. And what gets me is we have big game hunters who have tranquilizer guns, and they shoot down a rhino, an elephant with a dart or two, and it brings them down. We'll do that to the Bigfoot and drag him back to civilization, whether he wants to or not. You know, take a tranq
then
gun and
People would then
tranquilize.
say it's
Yeah.
Photoshop as soon as you put it on the TV.
It's too blurry. It's not real. It's too
Well,
clear. It's not real.
Yeah, that's because you're
Yes.
using your special Bigfoot and UFO camera.
That's the only one you can buy.
Yeah, the fuzzy one.
They can't hit Bigfoot because he just blips out into his other dimension.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Point Isabel in
There you go,
Ohio.
yeah.
was
Well, he
famous
doesn't know
for that.
because he's a natural creature. So he just
He
Not all
he
of
Shake.
them.
cloaks.
him is
Just
he
shakes
just
it
does a
off.
really big shimmy and like you can't get it.
Now I'm just
No.
thinking of somebody like shooting at Bigfoot and him just going
All right.
out of the way.
You know,
They travel
bit
very
of 70s
fast.
disco.
That's one of the other features of it. They travel remarkably fast for something on two legs. And it's almost
Yeah.
all of the reports. I was mentioning it on a show in America a few weeks ago. And that
Right.
they rang in and they said, "But have you mentioned that they travel exceptionally fast?" And they do. Albert would have noticed that. Oh, anyone else? I'm not sure what your fortes are, Paul and Nicole. Andy, his forte could be anything, so he's very multi-forayed.
Saying nothing.
And we
Right,
love him
yeah.
for it.
Right, we have last question before we all get booted. From Bim Jim. Do the aliens want disclosure? I think that's the question, isn't it?
Wow. That's a hard question.
Wouldn't
All
they
right, I'll
more
see you
aggressively-
guys later.
I'm going with Albert Roth for a beer.
What's that, Mum? I got to go. Oh.
If I'll start this then. If there are all these different races, maybe some of them do, maybe some of them don't.
If they're like us, who knows?
And that's why they've got this intergalactic federation of all these different beings from different parts of time and space.
Yeah, I think it depends.
But if they've apparently got other intergalactic federations that are fighting that federation, and the Orionians who are fighting the Pleiadians, and you pick it up, they're just like us. It's just a bigger version of the multiverse.
Yeah.
If they really were higher intelligence and they really wanted disclosure, wouldn't they sit down at a football game with 50,000 people or sit down on the White House lawn and paralyze anyone who came near and said, here we are. It's time you realize there's like multiple creatures coming to planet Earth. They would take some sort of step if they really wanted disclosure, but maybe they don't.
November
I don't think they
1954.
can.
That's what I'm thinking.
You'll like this one, Albert. I'm sure you know it. November 1954. I can't remember the day. Florence, massive major football game in a stadium. This is a big stadium, one of the big games of the year, soccer game or football game. And a UFO hovered over it.
Yeah.
Not a light, a proper UFO. Very well recorded.
Yeah. And it's happened in Brazil too in a couple of games.
Yeah. Brazil's always happening. Brazil's
Maybe
always got
in the UK it
UFO
happened
things.
once. I don't know.
If
Yeah.
they landed, would we think they're part of the halftime show and not treat it seriously?
Probably.
Yeah, people saying, "Oh, this isn't real."
Yeah.
Get us something else that's interesting. Off on, piss off. They start throwing beer bottles at it.
They are among us though. They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I've seen. So
Yeah.
Have
In
I
the
I
shopping
don't
mall.
think they particularly
sh-
care. Do we
shopping
try to
mall.
convince ants that humans exist? No, we just go about our business.
Yeah, we just carry on.
Mhm.
Have I advanced forms of us coming back from the future?
Let me jump.
Oh,
Oops, Andy's
Andy's
gone.
in
He's been
trouble.
taken by an
Does that
alien.
mean
No,
the
'cause
show
we're
is
in
over?
overtime.
Yeah.
This show is an hour and a half.
That's
Yeah, no.
Andy. He's been turned into an alien.
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm
no.
late.
Little baby alien.
Andy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Andy, so I gotta go soon.
Yeah,
Me
I've
too.
got to go
Waiting for
anyway
me.
because we've gone over
Yeah.
the 2 hours. So
I've got nowhere to go.
right, just before we
got more
go,
books to write, George.
he has about 40 before he goes to bed.
We've got a
Oh,
lot
I've
of
got a-
ideas tonight.
Right.
I'm working on a monster that is going to piss off.
I'm going to
so
do
many
a shameless plug for my new YouTube channel, which is not paranormal. It's called That Monday Face. I'm going to be talking about all different topics and subjects, possibly even paranormal, but only as a one-off. So if you would all mind, if you all wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. The link is there, George. You're looking puzzled.
No, I'm scratching my head.
All right. So that's it. And that's going to be starting in just over a week. I'm going to do it
Alrighty.
fortnightly.
Okay.
So I've done a couple of trials, but now we know exactly how we're going to work it. We just need to set the actual time that we're going to be doing it, and we'll have guests on. So if anyone's interested in coming on as a guest and talking about a particular subject, you are more than welcome.
Very good. So
So-
Andy, Nicole, George, Paul, nice to meet you.
Sure was.
Take care. So have your people contact my people next time you meet them.
Yes.
We appreciate your
Okay.
fine hosting, Andy. Thank you for getting us
Thank you,
together.
Andy.
sir.
Oh, thank you everyone for coming on. Absolutely loved it as always.
Thank you.
I am going to
George.
have to boot it off because YouTube are a pain when it comes to Is it rendering? It's absolute nightmare. So,
Alrighty.
right. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to have to shoot myself. I'm not going to have to shoot myself. I'm going to have to shoot myself. Been great talking to you all. And thank you, everyone in the chat. Great chat. Thank you for your great questions. And we'll see you all on Wednesday, where we're going to be joined by Eric Wood of Paranormal Highway / Gypsy Road. And then on Friday, we've got Chris Collins and his team coming on, paranormal investigators from the north of England in the UK. They moved it. Anyway, so that's next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care and see you all soon. Thank you, everyone, again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Bye-bye.
Andy is saying goodbye.